Are we our body? Are we our soul? Where does I stop and we begin? What is loss in the face of eternity? And what is life in face of universal chaos? Science fiction is the capability of challenging us by creating a futuristic world, or maybe just a futuristic device that makes it possible to cross borders we always thought of as nature's restrictions. I'm Attila, your host, and you're listening to Movie Prosecutioners. Today, the top 10 science fiction movies. Let's go. Okay, before I start, I have to make clear that these movies, like this top 10 list, is more like a subject list. So I have multiple subjects. I have 6 subjects in total. And to these subjects, I put movies too. So if you're interested in the subject, then you can watch multiple of these movies in this top list. And it's like more of a idea of which kind of movies you could watch and which kind of movies could be interesting for you. So let's dig in. The first movie that I want to talk about is Ex Machina. And Ex Machina is such a wonderful movie because it is like exploring this kind of phenomenon that we humans think we're superior to other beings, like if these are animals or machines or just rocks on the side. We believe we are very important, and we believe like we have special rights. So just to make an example, if you have 100 cows and 2 humans, which one of these groups would you kill? And I don't know any human who would say, oh, I just kill the 2 humans. The 100 cows are more important than the 2 humans. And I never met a person who said I would kill the humans. And so we have this kind of idea, like even if we go for 100,000 cows, like maybe at some point, like 3 billion cows, so people would start ask questions like, okay, maybe we could rescue so many lives with the cows that we keep alive by, I don't know, feeding them milk to other humans or whatever. But in general, you would not ask like which one of these is more valuable, because it's always the human being. And why Ex Machina is such an interesting movie is because if we recreate a human, and this human has like this artificial human has all the qualities a normal human has, where do we stand? Like, is the human being actually a creature created by God? And is it like superior than any other being? And so like never there will be something else that is as special as the human intellect and this human form, like human capability of empathy and so on and so on. And these kind of questions are so interesting because it challenges our morals. And that's why I love Ex Machina. And I mean, like, if you want to have a different kind of setting of science fiction, if you want to have like more big pictures, more big music, then you can go to like the Blade Runner movies. I love them as well, and they're kind of tackling like the same kind of questions, and they're fascinating in a little bit like a different format, like very action based. Also Terminator talks about this subject, but I wouldn't put it in the same group of Terminator, like Blade Runner and Ex Machina have a like really deep rooted philosophical vein. I just love these movies, and you should watch them if you're interested in the subject. And let's go further to the next subject, and this is like I don't know, it's weird to talk about it, but the next movie is Arrival from 2016. And Arrival, another Denis Villeneuve movie, like Blade Runner was from Denis Villeneuve, and now we go to Arrival. And Arrival is like a movie that talks about time, and it talks about finality. So if we know how things going to end, if we know that there's like no way this ends good, but like we still go the way, what does this makes us, and how are we allowed to choose this path? And Arrival is a very special movie. I don't want to spoil too much on what's going on. Maybe I say there's a different movie that is like more a low fantasy, like kind of less crazy movie than Arrival. There's Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Which is kind of approaching the same subject in a kind of different romantic rom-com, drama rom-com movie. Um, but Arrival is a lot about understanding if we end somewhere, do we still go the way? And yeah, I just give you this information and let you appreciate the movie by yourself. Um, just go for it. It's crazy good. Okay, next subject is from Total Recall and The Matrix. Hey, let's go. What will this subject be? No, but Matrix is a milestone. Matrix is fantastic. Matrix is one of these crazy, great movies that even thought it's so old, it's still so amazing, and I just love it. And Total Recall is kind of the same in a weird way. It's like an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, and I think it's the only Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that I really, really love, like from beginning to the end. Total Recall is not that unique of an idea, but it's like so, I don't know, ground, like down to earth, and at the same time so over the top that I love this movie. And it's like in the Matrix, you don't really know like where they live in. Like Total Recall is the question and Matrix is the answer, I would say. And Total Recall asks the question of, okay, if what I live through at the moment right now, is this real? And Matrix is answering, no, there's like a world created for human beings so that they can feel happy and normal, and we just use them for energy, and the whole world, like the real world, is a very different place. But I will say you have to watch Total Recall. Like The Matrix is a wonderful, great, perfect movie. Like there's nothing in this movie that I don't like, and it's so annoying to say that because like everybody will put this movie in his top list in science fiction, but it is one of the greatest movies of all time, and it is one of the greatest movies that you can imagine. I don't know, Matrix is fantastic, and I will say Total Recall is not as great as Matrix, but you should watch Total Recall if you're also interested in this idea, and also if you are interested in just watching a really great science fiction movie. So now we had the first three topics. Now we go to the fourth, and the fourth is like the topic of Space Odyssey. And obviously, science fiction does not have to mean that we go into space. Space is just a place where it's so hard to survive for a human being that you need new devices, more futuristic like technologies and stuff like that. So it's like very, how do I say this? It's a place where science fiction can happen very easily. But what I want to talk about here is like the space odysseys. So like the darkness and endlessness of space, and what it makes to us, what it makes us feel, what this kind of endlessness means to us as a human living form, which is like the only living form in like, I don't know, millions of kilometers. And this is like a movie that I kind of like love, and I cannot even talk, like I cannot even explain what I love about this movie, but I want to talk about Ad Astra. And Ad Astra is with Brad Pitt, and I was like, Brad Pitt just does his job very well. But like this movie lives with the pictures. You have to watch this movie in like the cinema. It's like such a crazy odyssey of him kind of reaching like his dad in on the other end of the solar system on Mars, and it's like such a beautiful created movie that you just appreciate for the pictures and for the mood that it puts you in. It's a fantastic motion picture, and I like, if you're interested in space operas, if you're interested in like the gigantic solo adventure of a man finding himself and his father and kind of conclusion about certain things, then you should watch this movie. I will not talk about more. I think I already spoiled a little bit, but obviously the other movie that goes in hand with it is 2001 Space Odyssey, but I will not talk about 2001 Space Odyssey. It has to be in this this podcast episode, because I talk about the top 10 movies, but it is such a complex and such a it starts with how human beings actually became human beings, and then it goes over artificial intelligence and so many topics. 2001 Space Odyssey is not fitting in this podcast episode because it's just approaching so much. If you're interested in watching more like an anthology movie, I would really say you should watch 2001 Space Odyssey. It's a wonderfully made movie with a lot of different food for thoughts kind of moments that you could appreciate. So it's just here. It made just an appearance, and the last movie with this subject, I would say, is Memories. It's I think it's an episode of a short series of 3 movies of Japanese animation, and I never talk about it, but it's one of the most fantastic space opera kind of movies. The whole motion picture is just so beautiful, and you have to watch it if you have the possibilities to find it. I say it's a total bliss, and it's also kind of these wonderful pictures and longing to what you lost on Mother Earth, and out on space you don't have what you had back there, and you want to have it back. And I don't know, I love these kind of movies that make you realize what you really have and what you really want to have in life. Okay, so there we are. Fourth subject is done. Now let's go to the 5th one. And this is I don't know, there are 2 movies I want to talk about. And so I want to start with Clockwork Orange. Clockwork Orange is a fantastic movie. A lot of people would not really consider it okay, this is science fiction, but in general it is science fiction. It is about a kind of gangster rogue little guy who has his team of rogues who break in and even rape women, steal stuff, I don't know. It's a really weird movie. It's a fantastically looking, perfectly arranged scenes and stuff like that. It's a crazy movie. And also Clockwork Orange is a science fiction movie, because Clockwork Orange talks about the possibility that we can hypnotize people so that they cannot harm other people anymore. And so we kind of reduce certain freedoms, because then even the most aggressive human beings can enjoy the freedom of going around the world because they cannot hurt anymore. And I love this subject. I really love this subject, because it's also it's a real gray zone. It's these 2 ideas of freedom. You deprive human beings of certain freedoms so that you give them other freedoms. It's nothing less than law. Law is also taking away certain freedoms. I cannot just kill somebody on the street. I would get arrested and put in prison. But it gives me like the possibility to make the most of my freedom, because I do not have to fear anymore that everybody is attacking me on the street. So basically depriving someone of the capability of hurting others, this is like a crazy good idea, you know, like everybody could enjoy freedom, everybody could go around, nobody would kill each other. And the difficult thing here is that obviously it's not for everybody. It's just one human being that is now deprived as a consequence of his actions of actually hurting other people. And then he gets like, you know, the payback for all the bad things he did. And this is like a really crazy good movie, and it plays like with the idea of how we like perceive society and how we perceive consequences of action and how we perceive like the justice system. A very similar, like a very different movie, like very different in quality, but still a very interesting, is Minority Report with Tom Cruise. It's about someone who's preventing crimes before they happen by I think it's an artificial intelligence that gives him these informations. And it's also like a very interesting aspect of it, because like we should be judged on the actions that we actually did. And also here it's like they never did anything wrong, they never hurt somebody, but they were like going to hurt somebody, and because our system says this is like the future that will happen, based on that we actually condemn them to prison. And it's like, I don't know, if this system is like not right, then that means that we condemn someone to something that he never did. And you should be like judged for your actions and like about like what happened, and not like what you may do in the future. And this subject, what you may do in the future, and that's how you are like perceived by society. This is like such a crazy subject. And if you want to watch a series, again, an anime, so be warned, this is an anime and it has like a few of the cliches, but watch Psychopath. Psychopath is a series where like a police force is like going to correct what the system cannot judge correctly, because like the system in Psychopath is a system where you have it's called a passport kind of, where like your intention of harming other people, your intention of disobey civil rules is like kind of made into a card, and it's like kind of measured all the time with like your anxiety, in which like your how often you become outrageous and how often you're like hurting other people. And this is kind of like you have a coefficient, and it shows like how, I don't know, how like how violent you are and how high the possibility is that you actually like do something to society that you should do. And this is like a so broad subject, and all of these subjects that I mentioned are I don't know, like all of them made me think for hours in my bedroom. I was like sitting there on my bed, I was like, wow, the world is a crazy place, and I don't know what I should think about certain things. So let's get to the last one. And the last one is like a movie I love so dearly. It's like the 1920s, like a movie from the 20s in the 1900s. It's Metropolis. It's now over 100 years old, and it's a German movie about how do I say, like, as much as 2001: A Space Odyssey by Kubrick is like a crazy movie with like a lot of subjects, also Metropolis is a movie with a lot of subjects, and it lives with the amount of pictures that are in there, and like the crazy artistic value that it has. And here there's one subject that was like really really hard for me to believe. And it was like out of like the industrial revolution. It's like, okay, we now have all these machines, but we feel like the missing parts of machines, not like their heart, but like their arms. A lot of humans here in this movie are portrayed as just part of the machine, just like going from A to B to make the machine rolling. And we have like we also have like the subject of what is like a human being, and what if like a machine impersonates a human being, and like there's so much in this movie. But it's like, it's such a dark, beautiful, great, impressing movie. Like, it is from the 20s, and you will see that because you cannot hear people talk, because it's a silent movie. But it's like, it's so strong, and it's like, it makes you question what I'm supposed to be like. How do I function, and should I like think about functioning? Like, if I'm just a part of a machine, is this like a good thing, what I'm doing right now? Is this where I will go? Is this what I like to be part of? And yeah, I think it's one of the most wonderful movies I ever watched, and I think more people should watch it. So that ends my top 10. I obviously like have so many other movies that I love very dearly that are not in this top 10 list, but like in the like broader list of all these movies. Like, there's so many movies like Inception, Aliens, Interstellar, Paprika, like another animation movie. Like, there's so many animation movies that are really great. The Host, Snowpiercer, Children of Man, Ghost in the Shell. There's so many great movies that you should watch if you're interested in science fiction. And but I think that's it for me today. I hope you got like inspired and are interested in watching one of these movies, because all of them are fantastic, and you should like deep dive like as crazy in these subjects. It's wonderful. So yeah, that was me for today. I hope you had fun as I had, and see you next time. Bye.